welcome back to the Strong.Sistas YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm gonna give a little grocery haul, so essentially cover pretty much everything that we will be consuming this week for food. Before getting started, just a reminder, we follow an animal-based diet and have added in whole food carbohydrate sources such as fruit, squash, honey, white rice, occasional potatoes, and starches, those type of things. And our goal is to try to eat as locally and as seasonally as possible. So it is December right now, and this grocery haul will look very different if it was June, for example. So in our small rural town here in Michigan, the only store that we have is the DG, the Dollar General. So we have to make a little bit of a trek to a food co-op store in Kalamazoo. But we are blessed because this co-op store is really awesome. It sources from as many local farms in Michigan as it can. So right now in winter, there really isn't much fruit, and it's kind of more squashes and potatoes. And so really over the winter months, I think a lot of my carbohydrates are going to be coming from squashes, potatoes, rice, and raw honey, and then of course carbohydrates in raw milk. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to cover all of the food items and break it down by macronutrient. So I'm going to go protein, then fat, then carbohydrate sources. For protein, we actually don't go to the co-op for our meat. We try to find those from our local farms, or I get some meat from Apsey Farms or from White Oak Pastures. And you guys know that some of our favorite meats are the offcuts, the offals, the odd bits. And so first we've got a lamb trotter from White Oak Pastures. So I really like this cut because it's a great mixture of methionine from the muscle meat and then glycine from all the connective tissue from around the bone, because the bone goes right through this cut. So we like to do some low and slow cooking to break down all of that collagen and connective tissue into gelatin. So also have some beef oxtail. So this is sourced from Apsey Farms, a regenerative farm, Cowboy Kyle's regenerative farm in central west Michigan. And similar to the lamb trotter, this has a great amount of muscle meat, so methionine, and then also a lot of connective tissue along the bone. And it again requires a low and slow cooking to break that collagen and connective tissue down into gelatin. We've got some more odd bits. So we've got some pork liver. This is again from Apsey Farms, and some of our favorite chicken gizzards. We just made a nose to tail cooking video about how to cook chicken gizzards, so make sure you guys check that out. I think that when cooked properly, chicken gizzards are very much underrated. Also have a pork heart from Apsey Farms. And then we've also got a beef tongue cooking in the crock pot.
Dang! 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 Dang!
Then we've got a beef chuck roast with a marrow bone in the middle, so it's kind of like a shoulder chuck arm roast. I'm not sure. This is sourced from Apsey Farms. So I made a large batch of bone broth. So we've got the Wiggle Jiggle, a great collagen source. So we've got some pasture raised eggs from our Cluck crew. So eggs are of course a mixture of fat from the yolks and then protein from the egg whites. Raw cheese from our local dairy farmer. Cheese is of course a fat and a protein source, and the ingredients in this are awesome. Raw milk, sea salt, rennet, and culture. And then of course some raw milk. So raw milk is a beautiful blend of carbs, fat, and protein, and it has a ton of nutrients in here because it is non-pasteurized, non-homogenized. So again, we get this from our local dairy farmer. You can check out the Real Milk Binder to find your local raw milk supplier. So for straight fat sources, we've got raw butter from our local dairy farmer, and then roasted marrow. So I like to roast the marrow bones, take the marrow out, and consume that during the week, and then use those roasted marrow bones in our bone broth batches. All right, so moving on to carbohydrate sources, I've got some raw honey sourced from Michigan, and then some white organic basmati rice. We find this at our local co-op, and it's like sketchy as heck in this brown paper bag. To be honest, I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to collect it from the bulk tubes, but we've got some rice in here, and we like white rice because it has been shown to be significantly lower in arsenic relative to brown rice, specifically white basmati rice from California. So that's why we like to go with the organic Lundberg brand, since Lundberg is based in California. And so this rice will have the lowest amount of arsenic, especially relative to brown rice. So we've got some butternut squash and then some acorn squash. And then I also found this sweet dumpling squash. I don't know, it kind of looks exactly like an acorn, but just with a different color exterior. And then got some Japanese yams. So it's grown in the United States, grown in Michigan, but for whatever reason, it's called a Japanese yam. The inside is actually white, and I prefer the taste of these over standard sweet potatoes. We don't have these every single day, but I do enjoy sweet potatoes, and so I'm going to have them, and it's a real whole food carbohydrate source that we have sourced locally, and it's a really good carbohydrate source to have in the winter months when fruit isn't readily available. However, if you really want fruit, a tip is to go check out the frozen section. So our co-op is really nice that they source some organic blueberries from a organic farm in Michigan, and this farm like freezes them in big batches, and so that way you're able to enjoy them through the winter months, obviously. So picked up a pack of blueberries. And then when I was walking past the fruit section, the pears were calling my name. So no, these were not sourced from Michigan. Nobody's perfect. These were, however, grown in the United States. So that's what I look for if I want something that's kind of out of season. I just try to source it from the United States, and I try to buy organic whenever I can, since I think that will have slightly less damaging results onto the soil rather than conventional practices. However, it's hard to determine whether that organic operation was still doing monocropping and tillage, which are still ultimately destructive to the soil architecture, soil structure. But I wanted a pear because I really like to make these like hashes with like pear chunks, butternut squash chunks, and then I'll use some of the pork heart. It's a really good combination. All right, that about wraps up this grocery haul. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Let me know in the comments below whether you like these type of videos, what else you want to hear about our current nutrition strategy. And we like to try to encourage others to support their regenerative farmers. It's not always possible, and that's okay. Nobody's perfect. However, I think that we should do what we can to support our local farmers whenever possible. And a cost-saving tip in order to support your local, for example, livestock farmers a little bit more is to purchase more of the off parts, the parts that aren't as in high of demand, such as ribeye, New York strip, and sirloins. So those are going to be a lot more pricey than, for example, buying more of like the heart, the liver, and the other off parts, or like chicken gizzards as an example. So incorporating more nose to tail parts will not only give you a little bit more nutrition, since those often have the highest amount of nutrients, they will also be able to reduce your grocery bill. So that's why we kind of started that nose to tail cooking series. So if you guys have not already, make sure you check out our nose to tail cooking series to help you guys feel a little bit more confident with those nose to tail parts in the kitchen. So until our next video, guys, if you have not already, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and also behave like an angel.